Before we jump into the Maven main project, let's go through this whatever we have discussed so far, like phases and life cycles and everything. So um, we'll have some Maven phases. This is a default one. So in default life cycle, the Maven phases are validate the project is correct and all necessary information is available. Then compile phase, so compile the source code of the project, and then we have test phase, test the compiled source code using a suitable unit testing framework. We have used JUnit, so these tests should not require the code be packaged or deployed. Then we'll go to the package phase. So package, take the compiled code and package it in the distributable format such as jar or var. Then we'll go for the integration test. So process and deploy the package if necessary into an environment where integration tests can be run. And finally we'll go for the verify. So verify, run any checks to verify the package is valid and meets quality criteria. It's called, we can say, health checkup also. For that you require a source code, static source code analysis and a static code analysis tool. Then we will go for install phase, install the package into the local repository for use as a dependency in other projects locally. Then final one, deploy. So done in an integration or release environment, so copies the final package to the remote repository for sharing with other developers and projects. So there are two other Maven life cycles of beyond the default list are, so one is clean, cleans up artifacts created by prior builds, and second one is site, generates site documentation for this project. And so phases are actually mapped to underlying goals. The specific goals executed per phase is dependent upon a package and type of the project. For example, package executes jar colon jar if the project type is a jar, and var colon var if the project type is, if you if project type is var. So an interesting thing to note is that phases and goals may be executed in sequence. So mvn clean dependency colon copy dependencies package, so this command will clean the project, and it will clean the project, and after that cleaning it copies the dependencies and package the project, so executing all phases up to a package of course. Then if you want to generating the site, so ambient site, so this phase generates a site based upon information on the project's form. You can look at the documentation generator under the target forward slash site. If you give this, we'll do that, we will do that all these commands. Okay, so now we'll see some commands. Maven clean we have seen, so this could be the output when you give maven clean. This is what we'll get it. Then maven compiler colon compile, so compiler colon compile, the command compiler, this compiles the java source code classes of maven object. Then we have mvn compiler test compile, so this command compiles the test classes of maven project. Test classes, the previous if you mention just compile, it compiles java source classes of the main project, whereas test compile compiles the test classes of the maven project. Then we have mvn package. mvn package, this command builds the maven project and packages them into a jar, var etc. So the output shows the location of the jar file just before the build success message. I have shown it to you in our previous example, in our previous exercise. Notice that the package goal executes compile test goals before packaging the build. You can see that on the screen. It's test is done, and then finally you got the build success, and here you can see the package name. Then we have mvn install. So this command builds the maven project and installs the project files, jar, maybe var or pom.xml, etc. to the local repository. The output looks like this by and large. It will install the package into local repository. Then we have the sixth command, it's mvn deploy. So mvn, this command is used to deploy artifact to the remote repository. So the remote repository should be configured properly in the project pom.xml file distribution management tag. So the server entries in the maven settings.xml file is used to provide authentication details. So anyway, this we are not going to do in this exercise. We're going to do till install and package. Okay. But if you want to add a deploy, so the most important activity to be done is you have to enter into the pom.xml. In that pom.xml file, you find the section called distribution management tag, and then there you will find the server entries in the maven settings.xml file. So there you have to give the authentication details of the server where you want to deploy this. And we have maven validate. So this command validates the maven project that everything is correct and all the necessary information is available. Then we have mvn dependency tree. So mvn dependency tree, so this command generates the dependency tree of the maven project, and this is what you get. All the dependencies will be put as a tree diagram. We will see that. We will test this command too. So then we have mvn dependency analyzer. So here this command analyzes the maven project to identify the unused, declared and used undeclared dependencies. It's useful in reducing the build size by identifying the unused dependencies and then remove it from the pom.xml. So then we have one more command, that's mvn archetype generate. We have used this command for our first example, the first project example. So that is mvn archetype generate. So mvn archetypes is a maven project templating toolkit. We can use this command to generate a skeleton maven project of different types. That's what we have done now. So we have taken a skeleton maven project to to get the exposure how this overall ecosystem works, how this overall maven build ecosystem works. Okay, such as jar, you can, it will has a different templates, maven templates for different formats such as jar, web application and maven site, etc. Then we have maven site :site. So this command generates a site for the project. You will notice a site directory in the target after executing this command. So there will be a multiple HTML files inside the site directory. So that provides information related to this project. So that also we'll see. Then the most important one, the mvn test. So mvn test, this command is used to run the test cases of the project using the maven surefire plugin. Maven surefire plugin, we use that. So basically the test cases should be placed in the directory, in test directory, in sub nested test directory. There we have to place the test cases of java application. So I have shown it to you in our previous example. Then we have maven compile. It's used to compile the source code, source Java classes of the project. And maven verify, this command built the project, runs all the test cases. When you say maven verify, this command build the project, runs all the test cases, and run any checks on the results of the integration tests to ensure quality criteria are met. So then we'll have a few more commands. We'll quickly look into them. mvn mvn f option maven example jar pom.xml package. So this command is used to build a project from a different location. So we have to provide the location. We are providing the pom.xml file location to build the project. So it's useful when you have to run a maven build from a script. Then we have maven wo option package. So this command is used to run the maven build in the offline mode. It's useful when we have all the required jars download in the local repository and we don't want maven to look for any jars in the remote repository. In that case, we can we can package it in offline. For that, you have to use option wo. Then we have mvn option q package. So this runs the maven build in the quiet mode. Only the test cases, results and errors are displayed. That's all. Rest all won't be displayed. Rest all logs won't be displayed on the display. Then we have mvn x option package. So prints the maven version and runs the build in the debug mode. It's opposite to the quiet mode, and you will see a lot of debug messages in the console. Then we have mvn option v. This is used to display the maven version information. Then mvn capital option v package. This command uh, prints the maven version and then continue with the build. It's equivalent to the commands mvn option v colon mvn package. So then we have mvn desktop mvn dskip tests package. So the skip tests system property is used to skip the unit test cases from the build cycle. We can also use dmaven dot skip equals to true to skip the test cases execution. So then the last one, mvn option t for package. So this command tells the maven to run parallel builds using the specified thread count. It's useful in multiple module projects where modules can be built in parallel. It can reduce the build time of the project because we are running the parallel builds. So that's the reason. So let's get into our I'll take a sticky note. Let's get into our mega project in maven. So mega project maven mega project. So here we will integrate git and github action, git and github with the maven, so that we will use all three together. So our first task here is task 1. So create a remote repo in the github. Then 2, enter into your local machine and open IntelliJ and clone remote repo into local destination directory. Then add local source code and commit and push into remote repo. Once it is pushed, now copy the URL of the repo and enter into our EC2 maven server and install git and install git. After that, clone the repository. Now start applying the maven commands and build the package and test it. So this is what our maven mega projects. So it takes a lot of time. Let's get into the action right now. So I'll begin with, as usual, GitHub. So this is my GitHub account. So I'm going to create a new repository. So your repository, and I say new repository, and I say here maven mega project remote repo. I'll copy the same in description. I'll keep it as a public repo so that you can also access that. And I'll add a readme file and click on create a repository. So the repository has been created. Now it's time to copy the HTTPS clone link. So the first activity is done. Where is the sticky note? Here it is. So the first activity is done. Now it's time to enter into our local machine and then open IntelliJ. So IntelliJ IDEA Community Edition. I'm opening it. Yeah, it's up. So now it's asking me to new project or get from VCS. I'll click on get from VCS only. So cherry rams, this repository is cherry rams. I think I do not have here, so I have to attach one more repository. Okay, we'll do that. In spite of configuring with the new repo, so we will log into another account and we'll do that. Again, we have to configure with the new repo, no? So we'll go with the another repo because it's been already configured. So last time we have configured that. So it's yeah, it's done. So now let me create a new repo here. So your repos and new repo. So same name. It's maven mega project remote repo. So let me copy it and paste it. Go with the public repo and add a readme file and click on create a repository. So repository is ready. Now let me clone this. It's not an important task. So now let me get into our so this part you can see that we have to find our GitHub maven. Let me type. Okay, so now let me click on get from VCS. So GitHub uh, maven. Here it is, maven mega project remote repo. So let me click on clone. So it's gonna clone, it's cloning the remote repository. And okay, that's fine. So now let's create, let's do small changes in readme.md file. Commit unversioned files and commit and push. First commit and commit and push. Yeah, this is where let me get that location first. Just a minute, huh? It is in action and project. Okay, got it. Yeah, let me click on push. So it's gonna push. By the time we'll get into that repository in maven action. So this is what it's been converted as. Okay, so maven project. I think pushed one commit to the origin or main. So now let me get into the project. So here is the project. It is in git action maven git in action. So that's where the location is. Let me get into that location first, the folder. So here is the folder. So let me paste it here. So done. Now it's time to get back. See, our source code is absolutely ready. Ansible files src. Let us. This is what the pom.xml file. So this is our source code we have written for that. And skip this. Okay. So this is our pom.xml file that we have written. We'll go through this and Jenkins file. It's not required. This is our next part of this module. And src, here you have your main and test. So let me get into the web app, and here you will have all the information about the web app. This is basically for the maven. So here you can have tests, model test, controller test, various tests. This is sample test.java, and this is user controller test .java, and here you have model test, role test, user test, and here you have a setup standalone tests. These are various test cases that are written. Okay, so then we have files, context.html, xml, and tomcat user, and here Ansible. The templates, these are Ansible. We have seen in our previous module regarding the Ansible. How does it look? Site aml. This is for site aml, and here you find the tomcat setup aml. So it consists of a complete information to configure that server. Okay, and this is Wipro app. So directly by executing these files, you can deploy the application inside the server, and you are able to access this application. So that's the power of Ansible. Okay, we have seen this is how you place various tool applications, various tool Ansible or maven inside a directory like this, and when it is required, you run all those things. Now let's look into our maven file. So what it consists of, that we are gonna see here now. So maven pom.xml is the main file. So and you should see a pom.xml file, and I have clicked it on. So now you can see that file exactly. Okay, here it is, pom.xml file on the screen. So as the what will be the version here is, it has started with model version, that's 4.00, and then group id, then artifact id, packaging, version, and name and url to get the dependencies. And here you find the properties. So properties, you see that properties, you see properties are like variables. So you can also see spring dot version. You can see that spring dot version inside the property. So the value of the spring dot version is that it hibernates a version value. And after that you have a MySQL connector version and its value. MySQL connector version and its value. That's value is 5.1.36. And this will be used over here in the dependencies section also, and the dependencies will give you the name of the dependency, you give the group id, the artifact id. So now again this will be already given by the developer majority of the time, so you really don't need to make any changes to pom.xml file, but sometimes you need to make a small changes such as xml format, the opening and closing tag. So those things we have to check. Rest all is absolutely fine. So uh, you can see that the properties, and then you can see dependencies here. So group id, artifact id, again they have mentioned. And so dependency, all are dependency will be mentioned based on each plugin that we are going to use. MySQL connector, Java, and its version. Then after dependency you will see the Elasticsearch dependency. Then you have a code coverage. So then finally you got the information about the site and initialize. Okay, this is what are. So now let's add and push this conversion files also, and this is committing all the source code files. So then let me say commit and push as well as. So adding files to VCS, it's analyzing the code, commits, checked fail, that's okay, it's fine. There are 33 warnings and 33 errors and 24 warnings, but still fine. So you just commit it. So it's asking me to commit message also. I would give the same message. It's a push message. I would give the same push message, and let me click on push. So it's pushing. So 88 files committed and committing all the source files. Now it's pushing. You can see the bar, pushing bar on below. 70% is done. Now it's taking more time. Once it is done, let's get into our maven action. Actually, this is a big application, so that's the reason I have used a live application. Anyway, this application we are going to deploy in our next module, such as Docker and Kubernetes, using various technologies. So there we are going to see this, but by the time we will do some maven commands. So as it is a big application, it's taking more time to push all those. So kindly bear with me for a few more seconds. Yes, it pushed one commit to origin or main. So now let's get into our GitHub repository and we'll see whether it's been pushed or not. Yep, it's done. It has come. You see the complete repository, Ansible files and source. Here we have the source code, and here you have a pom.xml file. Everything is there. So now let me get into our sticky note and we will track the our status. So we have done this. Then clone the repository into this is also done. Add a local source code and commit. Done. Now copy the URL of the repo. Done. So now it's time to enter into our maven server and install git and clone the repository. Okay, so let me get into the maven server. Here it is, and let me clear the screen first, and let me do SSH to maven server. So it's done. Clear the screen, sudo I, and enter into home. So here, no other than Ubuntu, nothing is there. Let me enter into the Ubuntu also. So Terran app, I would create a directory. It's mkdir maven mega proj. So cd maven mega proj ls, nothing is there. So now, so I want to install git first, and after that we will clone the repo. So I would say apt update. So once it is done, then we will install git. So it's done. Now I say apt install git option y. Git is being installed. Yeah, git is done. So let me check git version. Its git version is 2.25.1. so now let me clear the screen and say git clone and http url. Okay, sorry, that's my bad. Let me get into GitHub first and clone it and paste it. Click enter. Okay, sorry again. So let me clear the screen. I copied wrong, so I copied the GitHub CLI clone. So I'll copy this. Sorry for that. So git clone and paste it. So cloning into maven mega repo. So resolving deltas and all being cloned into our repository. Let me do ls. You see that maven mega project a remote a repo exactly has been copied. Let me enter into that maven mega. Here is that lsl. You see Jenkins file, readme, Ansible files, everything is there. Clear? So our repo has been cloned. So let me check this also activity. So now it's time to bring maven into action. So what will we do is, let's begin with maven version first. We will check maven version whether it is there or not. Yes, we have maven, that's Apache maven 3.6.3, and remember this maven home. This is maven home directory, that is user share maven. So this is very important. We are going to use this in Jenkins. That is our next part of this module. Okay, remember this. Why I'm telling, just remember this. Other than that, remaining all things we have discussed. So I should you should show you the maven version and the java version that it's using sometimes. So let's check java version also, which version we are using. Java version, so it's open jdk version 1.8.0 underscore 352. So it's clear we have java, and it's clear we have maven. So now, as the maven java 8 1.8 is the perfect version for the maven, so now we don't get any dependency problem here. If you install some other java development kit, it may not compatible with our maven. So that's why you have to be very careful. So when you want to deal with the maven, you go with the java open jdk 8 jdk version. Okay, so now what we can do is in the so we can execute maven phases one by one, whatever we have discussed so far in our slides. So I will say first maven mvn, clear the screen, and then I'll say mvn and test, so which is going to run the test phase directly. So where is the test phase? Let me get into the phases also so that it would be clear for you. I'll show you the phases one by one. Yeah, here it is. Test phase is after validate and compile. Okay, let's get back into our server again, maven server. So I'll click on mvn test. So what it will do is it needs dependency, so it's downloading the dependencies from the internet at this moment. So from maven repository, see that repo.maven. You can see that repo.maven.apache.org. From there it's downloading all the repositories. So once it is done, you should see it says, let's see, let's wait for that. It's downloading all the dependencies from the maven.org, apache.org. Let's watch it, what's going on. Kindly observe each step, what's going on, where from where it's bringing, how much, like, try to observe the things. Oh, now it's too fast, that's okay. But whenever if it is scrolling up at a slow pace, yes. So now it is jacoco, it's gone. That's okay, I will show you after, because I have shown you this now before also. The same steps will be repeated, not much different. But only thing is the plugins will change, the dependencies will change. The dependencies that I have mentioned here are slightly different than usual, the previous example. So those will change, but the rest all, the process by and large remains same. Let it execute. Jacoco dot plugin has been taken first. So now it is maven compiler one. So maven apache.org, from there only it's bringing all those dependencies. Okay, maven resources compiler surefire has come. Surefire has come means it's time for testing. Yes, tests. Now the tests, because surefire, yes, finally it says build success, and you you should get a directory location. But here, as it is testing, so it has just shown a build success, and then total time is 22 2 minutes and 22 2 hours 2 minutes and 22 seconds, and then finished at this time. So let's see ls. You see the target. Before you have seen only Ansible files, pom.xml and src, but now you could see target directory. So now let me clear the screen and I say lsl. So now you can see target clearly. So let me enter into the target and we'll see what we'll find there. ls, you can see the classes, generated test sources, maven status, test classes, and generated sources, and here jacoco.exec. So surefire reports, here you can find all of your test reports. Let me click on cd surefire reports ls, and these are the test reports. Let us get into the sample test.xml first, and these are all files. Let me do cat test account controller test, we'll go for that because these are the test cases we have written, or we'll go for the role test, whichever you want. Role test, user test would be fine. Test, and it's a v, then model test, and then role test for now. You see that? This is the test report of the role test. Similarly, you can do for the user test also. See that? So that's what the target file target directory will do. It will store all the test reports which were executed during the test phase. So now let me come out of the target, and yeah, so test phase we have executed. So now what will we do is, now let's run mvn install. Mvn install. So this is going to run all the previous stages. So for whatever we have seen, it's also going to run test package, everything, and again it's downloading the dependencies from the repository. So build is completed. Once the build is completed, and you should be able to see the see your output as an artifact. Let it go on, let it go on. By the time I will, so Jacoco has come into the picture. Jacoco, then build is success. So it took this much of time, and the most important aspect here, you can see the directory repository. So now let me get into the location, because this is installation process now. So where it has installed, that we have to see. You can find that here, installing in at where, home, Ubuntu, maven mega project, a remote repository, pom.xml, to where it is, it has a root, and this is somewhere else. This is where it has installed. Let me clear the screen now, and ls cd target ls. You see here, magic is done. Your war imli profile v2.war. This is your artifact. Your artifact is ready with the install. So it has installed your application, your package into the local repository. At this moment, this is our local repository. Got it? So that's what install will do. You can see your package clearly in war format. So it's the output of your build process, the software, the package, the archive that you are going to deploy in the, that you are going to deploy. Here it is, that you are going to deploy to the next level, or publish it to the next level into the artifact registry. So that's called an artifact, and this really is a package of the directory vprofile v2 directories. And even if I remove everything from the target directory, and I'll just remove the entire target directory, and I can rerun the phase again, and like, let's see what's going to happen. So I would get back one step, and ls and rm rf target, and let me rerun mvn install and see what's going to happen. So this time you should notice it's not downloading. You can see it's not downloading any dependencies, because it has kept the dependencies in the local repository. And this is where your local repository, in your local in your user's home directory .m2 repository. So if you go to the directory, you should find all the dependencies in the directory. Okay, so that's the reason without downloading it has been finished in just 16.764 seconds, because all the dependencies have been downloaded before only. So let me copy this root m2, yeah, copy this and do ls and paste it here, absolute path, and click on, you see that repository, you see that So all these repositories has been downloaded in your previous execution of the phase. So now all will be placed here, so you do not need to download them again and again. Once it is done, it's all done and dusted. So now it's time to run maven clean. So we have created a lot of mess here. Now let's clean it. I'd say so maven mvn clean, this should remove all the output that was generated in the previous execution. So maven clean build phase. So build is success, it's going to wipe out your target directory. You should see there is no target directory now, because whenever you run mvn install on any phase, so you should get it back. Now I check ls, gone your target directory. That's it. Now if you run mvn install again on this any phase, it's gonna build up, it's gonna it's gonna recreate the target directory. So now we will look into one more type of command. So we would say mvn clean install. So what it does is it removes the old data and generates the new data. So now you can freshly create a new target. For that, what will we do is we will run the mvn install again, so that we can get the target directory. Tests are successfully done. We are waiting for the build success message. It has come. Now let me see, you have your target directory. So now what I will do is, so I want to replace this target directory with a new update. For that I will do mvn clean install. So it's gonna replace the existing target directory. So build failure, building him like profile war, so it's by and large same. So let me check. The issue is with mvn clean. Now let's execute this. So build imlac v profile web app version 2 and tests. So now we are into waiting for the build success message, and here it is. Now let me check it. ls, you see that target has been replaced with the new one. Okay, so we have seen enough of install mvn install and mvn clean. So now we're gonna look into individual commands. This time we're gonna look into individual commands. Let's begin with mvn clean as usual. So that was done as mvn clean was done. So now it's time to look into another command, that's mvn compiler and compile. So what it does, this command compiles the Java source code classes of the Maven project. So now the compilation is taking place. You can see that it's scanning for the project. So the same profile, it's taking building. So finally build success. So compiling how many files? 21 source file which are present in home directory, Ubuntu, Maven Mega Project, remote repo, target inside the classes. This is where it has compiled. So build success, let's get into that. ls cd target and ls. So test, what is that? It's classes. Inside the target you will find the classes directory. Here it is, cd classes, and I would see these are, you can see that database backup.sql has been compiled, application.properties has been compiled, logback.xml has been compiled, validation has been compiled. So here inside the com you will have your complete source code, Java source code, but you will see the cat db backup.sql. So this is what the compilation, this is what the compiled file. This is a database file. So it consists of a schema and some database inside that. You see that this is user right data, and it mentioned some email ID. It's a different uh, records in the database. So this is one table, and user role, database schema, and okay, you've seen that. Now you got that, the benefit advantage of using that command. So now let me clear and get back. So now let's look into another command, that is test compile. This time we will only compile the specific things. Those are test. We will compile the test cases only. So I'd say maven compiler come. I'm asking compiler to come into the action, and I say do the compilation of test cases only. Only test cases. Okay. Okay, that's my bad. That's my bad. Yes, I hope. Yeah. Again, build failure. But what's the issue here? This time the issue with the. Okay, that's fine. Scanning for the projects. So Maven compiler, looking directly for the Maven compiler. So Maven compiler plugin 3.1, it has brought it. So now the build has been success. But now let's look into the how many files it's been compiled. 5 source files were compiled. Those were located in target and then test classes. Let's get into the target and test classes, cd, and then target and cd test classes. And you see here inside that you have cd com and visual. Okay, there is a lot. Let me give one by one. Tab. Okay, ls. Here you can see that you have 3 tabs. One is controller test, model test, and setup. So total we have written 3 types of test cases. One is controller test cases, second one is model test cases, and third one is setup test cases. So, and we have compiled the each test case. So basically using an individual command, you can basically execute whichever phase you want separately. So here I want to compile only the test cases, and I did it. You too can do that. ls cd maven, clear the screen. So now we have mvn package, so that we haven't executed. Now let's execute, and it's gonna run 4 phases. So this command builds the main project and packages from them into a jar or var. So let's do mvn package. I hope pom.xml is there. Yes, scanning for the project. It found a project and it's building. Now it's directly entered into the test because the dependencies has been downloaded well before. So let's see the out once you. Yeah, we got the output. It shows the first thing. It shows the where is that? Yeah, here it is, building war. It shows the location of the jar file or var file, whichever you mentioned. Here I have mentioned the var file, and after that you can find the build success method. So build success message. So what happened here, the package, so it has built, it has run, it has compiled and test compile and test goals before packaging the whole build. So let me get into the target folder and we'll see ls. You see that imli profile v2.var. This is how you package it, and clear the screen and get back into the main directory. So now let's, as we have done mvn install, so let's move into another. It's mvn deploy. Basically, to deploy this, we need to attach the server credential information inside our pom.xml. We haven't mentioned anything, but still we will give, and what error we'll get, that we are going to see here. So mvn install, sorry, mvn deploy. So this command is used to deploy the artifact to the remote repository. The remote repository should be configured properly in the project form.xml for the distribution management tag. So the server entries in the maven settings.xml file is used to provide authentication details. Yes, build failed. This is what I'm expecting, and it successfully failed. Okay. So failed to execute goal org.apache.maven.plugins. Maven deploy plugin is there. So this plugin comes into the picture and it will deploy. But for that, you need to provide the deployment failed. Repository element was not specified. That's what it's asking. You have to specify the repository element with the credentials of the server. Then only it can do. But I hope you got the exposure of this. So now let's move to another command, that's maven validate. Mvn validate. So this command validates the maven project that everything is correct and all necessary information is available. So build is success within 0.24 second, 247 seconds itself, because it has gone through the pom.xml file and all the dependencies are provided, all the plugins are provided, and all the script is properly written. So it says done. It's absolutely right. You go ahead with your next phase. Then let's look into few more commands. So that is mvn dependency, mvn dependency tree. So we want to see that dependency tree. Let's see how does it look like. So maven dependency plugin, for that you have to download maven dependency plugin 2.8, the tree plugin version 2.8 we're gonna download. So this command generates a dependency tree of the maven project. I'm waiting for the maven tree. Yes, build success. You can see that it looks nice. See, I always like any figure that is made with these kind of characters. Even if you see my LinkedIn profile, I have made everything with this kind of pictures, because this software is my heart. Okay, I have a lot of fun with this. I really like working all these kind of things continuously for 24 hours. Sometimes I used to record videos for 24 hours, almost 24 hours. I love it, man. I love it. Okay, the tree has been started from here. You can see it says com.imlike That's our group ID, and inside that you can find the artifact ID and then imlike profile war v2 and all the information, all the dependency information. So from which dependency it got. So all that you can see the various dependencies here. You can go through that. I'll slowly scroll it down. You just go through it, each dependency. Here you can see MySQL connector, Java unit, JUnit, you see JUnit 4.10, and inside that JUnit it brought ham crest. So everything is been mentioned. If you just want to cross check what all dependencies you are using, RabbitMQ, you see that RabbitMQ. So you can cross check all those things one by one. Yes, it's correct. Success. Now it's time to move to another command. So let me clear the screen for that command. So it is mvn dependency. Let's analyze the dependency. So this command analyzes the Maven project to identify the unused, declared and used undeclared dependencies. That's what we just want to analyze. How many declared dependencies were not used and how many unused dependencies were just declared just for the namesake. So that you can check it here. You see the information here. Used undeclared dependencies found. How many? So org.spring framework security, this is not used, and spring beans, this is not used, and javax hibernate javax one is not used, whereas unused declared dependencies. So basically these are used, but these are not declared. So that means there are some something is lacking in my pom.xml, then next time when I create this pom.xml, I can add these uh, these dependencies also. I'll just copy this and I can put it in my pom.xml. There is, and one more thing is unused declared dependencies. Basically, we have attached some dependencies which are, we have declared some dependencies but they were not used inside this. That means these are addition, these are excess. So this excess dependencies which are not required inside our pom.xml, because it increases the size of pom.xml and operations of the pom.xml. So this is what we require. This is how we analyze the dependencies and we make it we optimize the pom.xml for the quick build. So let me clear this screen and let's look into one more command type. So that is mvn site. We haven't seen this mvn site and then site. Let's see. So what it will do, this command generates a site for the project. You will notice a site directory. Once it is executed, we'll see that. And in that target directory, in that site directory, inside the target directory. So let's look into that. So it's taking huge time because it has to build, it has to generate or create a documentation. For that it's taking more time. And what is that? Yeah, okay, it's too fast. I forgot. I think it's using jetty. Yeah. So finally, we got some error. Obviously, we'll get, because the issue is Doxia is the one which we are using. So to see the full stack trace of errors, rerun the Maven with the e-switch. So if you run this with the e-switch, we can get the complete information. But we haven't provided all the information inside our pom.xml to build. So that's the reason we did not get it. But that's okay. But you got to know how it works. Yes. So ls cd target and ls, and you can see the site now, cd site. So this is where you'll find inside the jacoco, cd jacoco, you see that the documentation. Forget about this. Here you find the index.html. Normally, if you have given a complete proper documentation related XML tags inside your file pom.xml, you should have gotten a lot of HTML files in this directory so that you can go through the documentation. But at this moment, the default index.html is only present. So let me click on that cat index.html. So this is how it looks. Don't get bogged down. That's how it works. So let me clear the screen and let me get back to our sticky note. So we have applied the most of the commands and we have built the package and we have tested. So with this, we have proven all the commands which are helpful in building a Java application. And I would also request you to try some other commands also. We have to write almost all the commands other than using options. If you would love to if you like to try other commands, I would recommend you to try other commands and test it, each command, uh, for to get the more experience and exposure on this maven tool. So you have these commands now. So I haven't tried these commands using mm, basically with maven. If you would like, you can try that, or else I would try two commands and I'll show it to you, then you can follow that. Okay. So I'd say maven and option capital V. You see that? Apache Maven version 3.3. That's okay. Build, I'm not worried about the build. I want to see that version. Next, you can say if you want to run it in offline, you can use maven o package, and a lot of options are there. I would suggest you to try each and every command that is presented inside this course and enjoy the learning. So now I'm gonna show you one more thing. So till now we have discussed how to set up an EC2 instance, and then how to run all those things, installation, and run your application, and run the commands. But after all your work is done, you have to terminate your instance, or else you will be charged with FT amounts. So that's the reason. So the last action in this project is terminating our maven server. So let's get into the EC2 instance, and see that here I find EC2 instances. Click on the EC2 instance, select the EC2 instance, select maven server, and go to the instance state drop down menu, and at the bottom you will find terminate instance. So click on that, terminate. So let's wait for a few seconds. It should be terminated. So now it's loading, it's processing, it's trying to stop the server first, and then after that it will terminate. Let's wait for its termination. Once it is successfully terminated, then we will wrap up this module. Because so if you forget to terminate, the issue will be you will be charged with huge packages, because we have selected T2 micro now. T2 micro, that's fine. If you select T2 micro, it's a free. If you select anything other than that, then you will be charged heavy amounts. Okay, before that, let me come out of this. So let me exit. Oh, sorry. Done. So I'm exited out of this. Now I can easily terminate it. So before you terminate, make sure you are logged out of the system. So now to confirm that you want to terminate the instance, choose the terminate button below. So it's successfully terminated. You received the message. So it's been successfully terminated. Now you can be free. So now you can be happy that no amounts will be charged for you in AWS. So that's how. With this, we are gonna wrap up our maven module. So here in this maven, we have seen the fundamentals of the maven, and after that, after looking into the architecture of the maven, then we have looked into the pom.xml and the difference between the XML and the HTML, and after that we came to the maven in practice. So there we have done our first project using pom.xml. Then after that we have done a mega project. We have installed, we have created EC2 instance, and we have uh, installed Git, as well as Maven and Java. It's a dependency for Maven. And after that we have run most of the commands. We have built a package, we have seen the phases, and we have looked into the each and every aspect of Maven. I would suggest you to explore each command in this, so that you can gain more exposure on this. With this, I'm closing this part, the second part of module 5, which is maven, and I would meet you in another part of module 5, that is Jenkins. Get ready for Jenkins, an automation tool. We'll have more fun there. We'll blast with fun there. So till that time, until you enjoy my videos, keep subscribing it, keep liking it, keep loving me, and see you there. Bye bye.